If you were asked to serve in one of the remote places in the U.S., would you do it? Our guest today has done it. Father Yvon Sheehy, SCJ, has spent 22 years serving in remote Native American reservations in South Dakota. He will share with us the joys and challenges of ministry there, as well as the motivational factors that kept him going when things got tough. Hello, Father Yvon. Thank you very much for being with us. You spent 22 years serving on the reservations in South Dakota, one of the most difficult places in the U.S. province. What attracted you to this ministry?
I would say it was by luck and by chance. Originally, I was to go to Mississippi, and that program fell through. So they asked me to go to South Dakota, and I remember saying, "Isn't there any other place?" But I went. And I thoroughly enjoyed my summer there in Cherry Creek, South Dakota on the Cheyenne River Reservation. Then I spent another summer in Eagle Butte, South Dakota, still on the Cheyenne River Reservation. So a year after ordination, I ended up with an assignment in South Dakota. I was attracted during those summers because I got to acquainted with the people. I liked what was being done, and the people were inviting. So I was happy to return when I was asked.
Father Yvon, can you give us a sense of the reservations?
The reservation is like a little country within a state. They have their own government, each reservation. There are 7 of them in the South Dakota. And each of them has a tribal chairman, a council. They have their own police force. They have their own governing body. They operate differently than the state, but they do have some relationship also with the state. The reservations were not exactly the best land. Some of the tribal members do some farming, but it's very difficult. There's little industry, and people are always looking and happy to get a job.
The Native American have a greater respect for God, nature, God. What did you learn about God in your interactions with the people?
The people have a sense of one God. They consider that God watches over them. God will take care of them. They have more trust and faith in God, I think, than many others. They don't have a big sense of saving money, saving things, saving for the future. They kind of live day to day. They will help each other day to day, and they always depend on God to help them through the hard times. If you say to them, "Aren't you going to save something for tomorrow?" "Oh, God will take care of us when it comes there." And the thing that's also taught me is the fact that they are varied as a people. And it reminds me very much that God likes many kinds of people. He has created and allowed for many kinds of people. It makes the world a better place. And I always like to say, a saying of my own, it takes a variety of people to make a better world, and it's very true when you live on the reservation. There is a variety.
So your ministry there really stretched you. So in what ways did it change the way you see God, the way you relate to the people, or in what way did it change you?
Native Americans, when you read about them in books, they're kind of a certain way. But when you live with them, you find out they're nothing like what the books picture them. Often they're pictured as stoic, as individuals, as very distant, unfriendly, quiet. When you get to know them, they love to joke around. They don't fit the box in any way, shape, or form. They enjoy gatherings. They're anything but stoic. They have a great way of reaching out, laughing, joking, and inviting you in part of their life. They have a different sense of time, which over time I got to enjoy. If you're going to have a tribal meeting and everyone's invited and it says at 10 o'clock, it won't start till 10:15, 10:20. If we have Mass at 9 o'clock, they'll show up around 9, 9:05, 9:10. I do remember once I thought I'd sponsor a softball game. So I put an advertisement, we'd have the game at 10:30 in the morning. So I went out to the field at 10:05. 10:30, no one was there. 11 o'clock, no one was there. So I went home. About 1 o'clock, a couple came to see me. Father, we're all out here at the field waiting for you. Where are you? I thought, different sense of time.
So you spent 22 years there, and for me, it was very challenging. What were the challenges that you faced while serving there?
The first challenge for me was when I went out. I knew I was facing living alone. All the SCJs who lived on the western part of South Dakota lived alone and ministered to 2 or 3 missions. I ended up building a new community house with the help of the province, and we eventually made that the center. And we ended up 3 brothers and 3 priests at one time on the reservation for at least 6 years. And that made it more enjoyable, having a community base to work out of.
So you emphasize the importance of community or creating community. Are there particular moments on the reservation that stand out for you?
Well, there are many moments, but let's see. There are big powwows, and each community has one during the summer for 3 days, a long weekend. They do dancing, they show their arts and craft. People come from all around. It's a great time for visiting your extended family, your relatives. And for me, it was a good time to get acquainted with people's extended families as well. And I enjoyed it. That was one of the highlights. Funerals, when someone dies, the family gathers. They have 1 to 3 nights of wakes. I, as a Catholic, would lead the prayer service if it's a Catholic funeral. And then I would invite anyone else who wants to say a few words. It would start at 7 at night and go to midnight, followed by a meal. And the family is expected to put on the meal. Then the day of the funeral, the family puts on a meal after the funeral, and whatever's left of food they give away. Just a very different approach that I had been used to, but kind of a good community sense and enjoyable.
So what lifelong lessons did you learn from your experiences in South Dakota?
You never know what to expect, would probably be my first reaction. I like South Dakota because every day was different. There wasn't kind of a routine with the ministry. There was always something new, something exciting, something different. And I couldn't say, well, Mondays this happens, Tuesday that happens, Wednesday. There was nothing like that. It was always the unexpected.
A greater sense of flexibility.
Yeah. An individual who likes order and peace would find it very hard to live there. God sometimes has a good sense of humor. I didn't intend to go to South Dakota to start with. I was going to Mississippi. That fell through. I had also wanted to go to the Congo, and that didn't happen. And eventually I was asked to go to South Dakota, and I ended up enjoying it. I went and I fell in love with it.
Would you do it all over again?
I probably would. If I had the chance, I would, doing it all over, I would do it. Not at this time, but yeah, I would.
To end the conversation, do you have anything to say to our viewers, to the people you have ministered?
To the people that I served, I was very happy to be there. I was very happy with their sense of presence, their welcoming spirit, and the fact that they made me feel very much at home. To the people who view this, I'm happy to share my thoughts that people sometimes are very different than what we expect. We have an idea, or we sometimes box people in. And when you get to know them, you find out that they're nothing like the box. And they're wonderful people. And the people I served were wonderful. They had headaches like everyone else. They had their traumas. But at the same time, they knew how to support and encourage one another. In many ways, their style of life reminds me of religious life. When we live in community, they lived in community. They supported each other. They had their headaches along the way, like we do also, but it was a very good experience overall.
So thank you very much, Father Yvon, for your time and for your sharing and for your ministry as a priest of the Sacred Heart.
You're welcome.
Pope Francis once said, "No vocation is born of itself or lives for itself. A vocation flows from the heart of God and blossoms in the good soil of faithful people." For Father Yvon Sheehy, he fell in love with the people, and the people kept him strong. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for supporting the priests of the Sacred Heart. You are in our prayers.